3:14 hours, Eastern Poland. It was supposed to be a quiet night on NATO's eastern frontier. Then, without warning, 12 Russian-made suicide drones crossed the border from Belarusian airspace at treetop altitude, flying less than 20 feet above the frozen fields. Their target, Forward Operating Site, Vega, a NATO logistics base supporting US and Polish forces near Lublin, less than 120 kilometers from Ukraine. 03:16 hours. The first explosion ripped through the vehicle depot. Surveillance footage later showed a swarm of glowing red traces streaking low across the night sky before the cameras went dark. Within seconds, 2 HIMARS launchers and 3 fuel trucks erupted in flames. The blast wave shattered windows across a 3-mile radius. 03:17 hours. Inside the command shelter, American and Polish officers scrambled to re-establish comms as the drones hit in waves. 12 launched, 10 confirmed impacts. According to sources obtained by Global Warfare Report, these drones were Lancet 5 variants, modified with extended range and pre-programmed waypoints, guided through an encrypted link believed to originate from a Russian electronic warfare unit near Brest. 03:19 hours. An American sergeant inside the barracks recalled hearing what sounded like angry wasps mixed with thunder. Seconds later, power died. The base's anti-drone radar had been jammed by electronic interference moments before the attack, leaving its defenses blind. At least 6 US servicemen and 4 Polish soldiers were injured in the initial strike. 2 surveillance towers collapsed. Fuel reserves burned for nearly 40 minutes. 03:22 hours. But what Russia didn't anticipate was that Poseidon Relay, the NATO intelligence fusion node monitoring the region, had already captured telemetry from the drone's encrypted uplink. In less than 8 minutes, the US European Command knew the launch coordinates. A field once considered safe suddenly became the front line of a digital and kinetic war. 03:28 hours emergency transmissions from Forward Vega identified at least 3 drone fragments bearing Cyrillic serial markings, suggesting direct manufacturing links to Ural Aerosystems, a state-contracted Russian defense firm. The implication was clear. This was no proxy strike. It was an act of aggression by a state actor. 03:31 hours. Satellite reconnaissance from a USRC 135 rivet joint orbiting over the Baltic intercepted command and control chatter consistent with Russian ground forces' Eastern Command. Claimed by sources, this traffic mentioned testing NATO response bandwidths, a phrase that would later send shockwaves through intelligence circles. 03:35 hours. As the fires raged, a single MQ-9 Reaper launched from Ramstein Air Base crossed into Polish airspace, scanning for further inbound threats. What it found changed everything. Multiple radar returns, moving west from Belarus. Another wave. But before the drones could cross the border again, they vanished from radar, jammed and neutralized by an unmarked electronic warfare aircraft flying under US control. 03:38 hours. By then, the order had already been given. Operation Iron Reprisal, a coordinated counterstrike, was authorized under NATO Article 5 contingency procedures. US European Command mobilized F-35s from the 48th Fighter Wing. 2 B-2 Spirit bombers rerouted from RAF Fairford, and cyber defense teams from Fort Meade. For the first time in decades, NATO had been attacked directly on European soil, and the response would not be measured in words. 03:43 hours. As dawn began to break over the plains of eastern Poland, smoke still curled from the shattered hangars of Forward Vega. What happened next would transform a border skirmish into the largest US-led precision retaliation in Europe since the Cold War. 04:11 hours. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. Inside a sealed operations room, the red light over the command table flickered on. The order was official. Operation Iron Reprisal was active. Within minutes, 4 F-35A Lightning II fighters armed with AGM-158 JASSM-ER missiles began taxiing across the wet runway, engines cutting through the cold German air. Each aircraft carried precision strike packages mapped to the coordinates reports of the Russian drone launch sites identified earlier near Brest and Pinsk, just inside Belarusian territory. According to intelligence obtained by Global Warfare Report, these targets included 2 mobile control vehicles, a hardened command bunker, and an electronic warfare node used to guide long-range UAVs into NATO airspace, 0426 hours above the Baltic Sea. At 38,000 feet, 2 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers entered Polish airspace under MCON Alpha full radio silence. Each bomber carried GBU-57C earth penetrator munitions designed to destroy underground infrastructure. Trailing behind them, 4 EA-18G Growlers from the U.S. Navy's Electronic Attack Squadron. "132" began jamming Russian radar frequencies across a 120-mile corridor, blinding early warning systems from Kaliningrad to western Belarus. The entire sky went electronically dark. 0441 hours, eastern Poland frontier. Ground observers in Lublin saw nothing, only a low hum that rolled across the clouds. Moments later, the earth shook. 2 JASSMER missiles struck the first target, a radar relay station, camouflaged beneath old hangars. Secondary explosions confirmed the presence of drone fuel reserves. 32 seconds later, a second pair hit the mobile control center, vaporizing every antenna array within the compound. Russian social channels lit up with conflicting reports. Fuel explosion, industrial fire, training accident. But satellite footage told the truth. 3 launch complexes neutralized in under 7 minutes. 0458 hours, the Baltic approach. As Russian interceptors scrambled from Kaliningrad, NATO's airborne warning and control system, call sign Sentinel-31, guided 2 F-35s into intercept positions. A Russian Su-35 approached head-on, closing fast at Mach 1.2. The American pilot transmitted one phrase: visual contact, no hostile intent declared. The Su-35 turned away after locking radar for only 2 seconds. The message was clear: the Russians were not ready for escalation. 0512 hours, underground command site Borisov. Russian operators watched their screens flicker and die as the B-2 Raiders released their payloads from 45,000 feet. The GBU-57C bombs plunged through 180 feet of reinforced concrete before detonating beneath the command bunker. Seismic sensors across western Russia registered a 3.4 magnitude shock. When the smoke cleared, the entire drone control network in Belarus had ceased to exist. Even Moscow's encrypted satellite links went offline for 9 minutes, an eternity in modern warfare. 0527 hours, Warsaw NATO Joint Command. The Polish Prime Minister received a single coded update from U.S. European Command. Target Alpha neutralized. No further activity detected. Moments later, local emergency services in Lublin reported the fires at Forward Vega were finally extinguished. Casualties: 10 wounded, none fatal. Every soldier alive, and the base still operational. NATO spokesperson later described it as a proportionate defensive strike under Article 5 protocols. But behind closed doors, analysts admitted what the operation truly represented: a strategic warning. Any attack on a NATO facility, physical or digital, would trigger full-spectrum retaliation. 6:02 hours, Washington, D.C. Inside the Pentagon's secure conference room, a single sentence summarized the nights: deterrence restored. The operation lasted exactly 141 minutes from the first Russian launch to the final American extraction. 5 launch sites destroyed, 43 UAVs eliminated before deployment, and 0 NATO casualties during the counterstrike. According to sources obtained by Global Warfare Report, intelligence agencies are now reviewing whether the Russian drones were testing AAI, assisted targeting systems, technology that could redefine future conflicts. 6:30 hours, aftermath. At dawn, smoke rose across Belarusian borderlands, and Moscow's official channels remained silent. Independent satellite feeds showed flattened bunkers and burned equipment scattered across 20 acres of farmland. Within hours, NATO forces raised the alert level across Eastern Europe to DEFCON 3, not for fear, but for readiness. The US had responded not with words, but with speed, precision, and control. And somewhere in those early morning clouds over Europe, the quiet hum of returning bombers carried one unspoken message: you strike NATO once, and America strikes back tenfold. This is Global Warfare Report. The front line never sleeps. Stay vigilant, because in today's wars, silence is never peace.